One of the best ways to fast track your sales is by automating your lead generation process, specifically on LinkedIn. It's a great platform to make good connections and actually get people who have the money and are interested in what you're trying to sell. In this video, I'm going to go through my entire process of setting up automated LinkedIn lead generation campaigns. And I'm going to show you step by step what you have to do and also give away a free PDF resource that goes through the entire process in a lot of detail. So stay tuned, follow along the video, and let's get right into it. So before we get started, I want to show you everything you're going to need to actually do this successfully. So first off, this is the 10-page PDF that I'm going to be having down in the description below, so you can look at it for yourself, 100% free. But the main platform that we're going to be running it on is Drify, which basically allows us to create drip campaigns. And what that is, as you can see, it kind of goes through different steps, and we can build this out and completely customize it based on what we're looking to do. But from there, we're able to create some outbound campaigns that both, sends the connection requests and then goes in, sends messages, and we can also respond and look at all the different leads in here as well. So this is the main campaign and main platform we're going to be using. It is a paid platform, so you can get a 7-day free trial. And then after that, there's pricing plans ranging from about $35 a month to $99 a month. So that's one platform that we're going to be using. And then in terms of getting the leads into here, there's two main options that I really like to use. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is really good, obviously, because it's directly connected to the platform, and we can upload those leads straight into the Dripify as well. But then another platform is clay.com. So if you're familiar, basically what you're able to do is create various lists of leads, and you can import up to 1,000 at a time on the free plan, or maybe this is on the free trial, but whatever it is, either way, there is a free plan that you can get a bunch of profiles from, and you can do it a couple different times. So from here, we're able to get LinkedIn profiles and download those and upload those in Drify as well. So there's a couple different ways that we can do this, and I'm going to be showing you both the ways as well as the best practices for actually creating the campaigns in Drify itself. So first off, we're going to go to LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and we're going to press lead filters in the search. And I'm going to show you the way I like to do it and what's been most successful for me. So suppose we're targeting, companies that are kind of small. We don't really want to be targeting big companies because we don't know if they're going to be buying our service. So let's say that we're looking for companies between the range of 1 to 50 employees. So we're going to go here in company headcount and select those. And then going off that, we obviously want to be targeting decision makers in the company so they can help us actually sell our services. And we don't really want to get caught up in a bunch of other people within the business. So the best way to do this is by going to seniority level. And, from there, we want to choose the decision maker. So owner, partner, vice president, directors. And, for this, I'm just going to say, I'm going to go to owner, partner. I'm going to go to, let's see, what's here? Director. You can include experienced, manager, vice president. It kind of depends on what you're looking to do. Vice president's actually usually a good one. Let's get rid of director. But those are the two, main ones that we want to do for these type of companies, because obviously since the companies aren't that big, it shouldn't be that hard to get a hold of the owner. If you are targeting bigger companies, then it might be better to target someone based on the specific function and the specific product you're selling. So whether it's sales, marketing, or VP of marketing, VP of sales, whatever it may be. And then from there, we're going to go into geography. And most of the time, I only sell to companies in the United States. You can also include Canada, for example, or other regions based on where you are, obviously, but that's best for me. And then for industry, let's say that we're targeting people in financial services. So we'll include that over there. And then, you'll usually only want to target one industry. Because you don't want the list to be too big. You want to narrow it down kind of as much as you can. Then we're going to go to connections, and we're going to say 3rd degree plus connections. And then we're also going to go here and we're going to exclude people that we've interacted with or viewed messages and done anything like that before. So you can see here, we actually have quite a lot of results. There's 170K. That's kind of because we picked a broad industry. So, if that's fine, then that's fine. But I actually kind of want to narrow it down a little bit even more. So let's go here and let's say that we want to target people in private equity and venture capital. This should narrow the list down as much as possible. So there we go, 17K, not too bad. The United States is a good range. Company headcount, if we want to make it even smaller, we can obviously make smaller companies, but this kind of gives us companies that aren't too small where they may not have any funding, but not companies that are too big where we're kind of out of the range for what we're trying to sell. So let's save this, and what we want to do here is press save search, and then you want to save search, and you can see it kind of gives you an automatic thing here. But what I like to do is kind of put it in this format, like you can see here. So let's say private equity / venture capital. I'm going to say US. This is also 1 to 50. And for here, we've done owner, VP. Well, we've done owner, partner, and VP. Oh, God. Owner, partner, and VP. So that's how I usually like to do the naming convention, just because as you can see here, I just have a ton of saved searches. So it gets a little complicated if it's, longer than that. But now that we have the list from Sales Navigator, we can go into Drify itself, and we want to start a new campaign. So what we want to do first, if we're using LinkedIn Sales Navigator, is you're going to paste, oh, not that. You're going to go here and you're going to go to the URL for the search you just made. My URL might be cut off, but you just copy and paste the URL into here. And then we kind of want to name it the same thing we just did. So honestly, I'll just usually go into here and just copy paste that in. So there we go. And then it's going to look and search and see, how many things it can find, how many leads it can find. It might take some time. You can see here that the max you can import is 2,475. Just for this case, I'll usually just do it as 1,000 because, it takes time to run through the whole list anyways. So now that you have the leads in here, I also want to show you another way to get leads. So this is clay.com. And in here, this is kind of a better place, and honestly, in my opinion, to get leads just because it's a lot more specified and you can use keywords. So I'll show you what I mean. So if you see here, since we're targeting private equity and venture capital, we can just say private equity. If I could spell, we could say that. Private equity, venture capital. And then we can even go further. We can say private equity firm. Suppose we want asset management, although that is a little different, but let's say asset management firm, venture capital firm. Whatever it may be, you can include keywords compared to Sales Navigator where you kind of have to stay within the industries that they've defined. And there are a lot, but the more you do this and the more type of niche campaigns you try to create, you'll notice that it kind of gets hard to create the perfect ones compared to clay.com where you can actually create very specified campaigns. For company size, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do 2 to 50. And then job title, kind of the same thing, owner, partner. But one good thing about Clay, again, is that you can do C-suite. So you don't have to stay, this actually isn't an option on Sales Navigator. It goes straight from owner and partner to VP. So C-suite is good. I usually actually keep it at that. I don't even go to VP on here. And then for location, again, we'll just do the United States. But that's usually all I do here, to be honest, for Clay. But you're going to get really good lists, and it's a lot more specified since you can use keywords. So once we have this list, it's going to take some time to load. But we can actually import this into a table for free. And I think I am on the, I'm not on a paid plan. I'm on like a free trial right now. So it might be 1,000, but I think it might be 100 normally, but whatever it is, you can kind of figure it out and usually get 100%. You can get free leads anytime from here. You might just have to do it over and over again. But here, we'll say PE, venture capital, PE venture capital. We'll say 1 to 50. Well, this is actually 2 to 50, US, and then we'll say owner to C-suite. So there we go. We got our naming convention there. And now that we have this in here, I'm going to show you how to import this into Drify. So what we're going to do is export this and download it as CSV. And now we're going to have 1,000 free leads. So when you start your account, you'll get, the free trial. And, there's a lot of other stuff you can do with clay.com as well, which I'll probably show in future videos because you can integrate AI and a bunch of other stuff and create some really cool waterfalls. So that's also really interesting. But for now, we'll just add this as a CSV. We'll go in and drag and drop that in here. They found about 1,000 profiles. So now we can move on. Now, this is the most important part about Drify, and this is why Drify becomes really good because we can create an entire sequence, and you can see I have a bunch of templates saved, and I've tested out a lot of different ones. But what happens is that on Drify, the bigger the gap is between, when you're either sending a request and sending a message, what Drify tries to do is make you see more human so you don't get blocked on LinkedIn for doing automated activity. So what that means is that, if you see in here, in this template, it goes, you'll review the profile, wait 5 hours, then send an invite, and then it kind of has a two-part where if they don't accept it, we can wait either a day or 2 days or whatever the case is, and then we also want to withdraw that, withdraw that invite, and then if it is accepted, we're going to wait maybe 3 hours, wait, message, wait a day, send a follow-up message, whatever it may be. But sometimes what I like to do is eventually I realize that it's better to kind of speed this process up. So if I go back here, I don't know what's happening. Why can't I choose another one here? It is back to templates. So if I go here, something that I've realized, now is that since I have LinkedIn Sales Navigator subscription, I am allowed to have more connection requests and more messages. So, it's fine for me, in my opinion, to do that. And there we go. That's configured. So I am going to be doing this a little quicker. I'm just going to be viewing the profile, going 1 hour, sending an invite. This is actually the quickest you can do it. 1 hour is the smallest gap you can have. The only way that you can do it quicker than this would be to not view the profile at all and just immediately send connection requests, which is fine, but I haven't really tried that before. I think it is a little too risky in terms of you're going to max out your connection requests really quickly. So this kind of, balances that out a little bit. Another thing that you could do is this is just, one follow-up message. You can add another follow-up message. You can add as many as you want. So this is kind of the easiest and most simple way to do it right now. And this is actually included in the outreach document. You can copy it straight from there, or freeze it from the screen and take it right now. So oh, I forgot to add the message though. So now that we're here, the next part is the message, right? So when it gets to messaging, it really depends on what specifically you're looking to do. There's a lot of tips and stuff in this document, but the main things that I've realized is that you want to be as direct and concise as possible, because if someone's opening a message and they just see an entire paragraph, then they're really not going to be inclined to want to open that, because they're going to see the sales and they're kind of their sales meter is going to go off. So one of the main things is making a killer offer. You want to tell them exactly what you're doing and give them no reason to say no and no reason not to respond. And then from there, obviously avoid being salesy, because people kind of are able to realize, especially on LinkedIn, because a lot of people do this. And if you want to stand out, you got to make sure that you're not making it salesy. And you can even make it where you're not asking them, to buy anything at all. You're not asking them even to book a meeting. You're just kind of saying, hey, I have a question about your company, this and that. But that's something you kind of have to, decide based on your campaign. And this document has all that detail as well. You want to customize the messaging to the target of each campaign. So based on, what industry you're targeting, what owner, what partner, what VP, whatever it is, you want to kind of customize that messaging. And you want to avoid including the calendar links in the first message. This is something I've learned, over quite some time of testing. When you are including the calendar link directly in the first message, it's very rare that they're going to press that and book a meeting with you. It just seems really salesy. And another thing that I actually avoid doing is I don't even send anything in the invite. I don't send any message. You could send something, but a lot of times what I've seen is that actually reduces it, because people already can tell that you're going to try to sell them something. So if your profile is configured properly and you look like a real person, even if you're a student or whatever it is, I would configure your headline in a way so that it doesn't seem too salesy. You shouldn't need to do that, and you should be able to get a good connection rate. But do test it. You can try one with the message here as well. But now, in terms of here, this is a very, very basic message that I actually have gotten success on, believe it or not, even though it does seem really simple. But, hey, first name. So this is what we do in Drify. Basically, if you want to pull from their profile, it helps us customize the messages. So although it doesn't use AI or anything like that, in this specific, platform, you can get all the specific details from their website. You can also get all of these as well. So most of the ones that I use most often are just the first name, the company, the city, and the industry. So those are the 4 main ones that I use, and you can see all that in the document as well. So let's just say, hi, first name, I want to offer you new customers for company. There we go. That's this killer kind of statement, because, most of the time they're not going to say, oh, I don't want new customers. They'll at least, engage you, but maybe not. It really depends on the industry and the type of person. There are better messages for sure. You can see some of the examples here. I want to offer you new clients. We can, we've increased revenue by 9x for our clients in healthcare in the past. You could include something like that. I want to get you more customers 100% free. So this type of message is actually really good. And this is the one that I've used that's actually had a lot of success for me, because, you're saying 100% free. You only pay me once I close sales. There's really no reason for them to not at least respond. Whether they engage you after that is different, but there's no reason for them to at least respond. That's what your job is right here. And the engagement is the next step. So I'm actually going to use this message, let's say in this campaign, just for an example. And then for the follow-up, this is something I like to do. It's really simple and really direct and really clear, because, if you send up another follow-up message saying, hey, we've done this and we've done this and I want to do this for you, they're going to be like, all right, this guy's trying to sell me something. I don't want to talk to him. But if you do a question like this, or you're not looking for new customers, they'll be like, well, I am looking for new customers. And, maybe they just didn't see it. So you could actually even increase the gap here, maybe make it 2 days, but, that's up to you. So this is, a really basic example. And the main thing that you have to realize here is that you really have to test out, A/B test different messages and different sequences, different formats, but make sure you're only changing one thing at a time. So if you're changing the messaging, keep the same sequence and, in that area. So these are the steps that I like to define it as, when creating the sales messaging, which is obviously really, really important. And that's the key part. That's the main thing that you're going to test. And that's really where the skill comes in. And obviously I'm still learning a lot about this, as I continue to do campaigns, and hopefully, continue to improve over time. But A/B testing and tracking all the data, which I'll also make a video on in the future in terms of looking at the data properly. But that's the main thing here. Once we get through that, everything is kind of done. I mean, you just give your campaign a name. For this one, I was targeting PE. So I'll say PE/VC 1 to 50. We'll say owner to VP, and this is A. So this is actually kind of long. I'd honestly just do it like this. Sometimes you could even do that. But now we're ready to save it and launch it. Go back to our campaigns, and you can see it's there. You can see the reply rates have been rough during the holiday season. But if you go back to the past, I've had 30s, I've had 20s. And this reply rate, keep in mind in Drify, it's a little misleading, because it's actually taking the reply rate from the amount of connection requests that you're sending out. It's not taking the reply rate from the amount of messages you're sending. So I actually made, my own kind of data tracking software that I'll show you later on, or maybe show you how to set that up in a different video. But we have an entire spreadsheet that kind of tracks all the data in a very niche way. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But now that we have that set up, we are done. I mean, that campaign's launched, and once we are in our operating hours, we're gonna have those messages and those requests be sending out. So from there, what you can do is track the statistics. So you can get all the statistics based on the range. So let's say for this month, I want to track, or let's just say last month, I want to track. This month's been kind of rough in terms of because of the holiday season, but still had some success in terms of responses. But let's say we want to go back and we want to look at this. I didn't do that last month, I guess. That was this month. But you can see, you can see all the responses and all the statistics over here. Let's try to find one that has more. There we go. Let's say last month. So you can see this one has pretty good results in terms of connection requests and the delivered. And obviously, like you can see, I mean, these statistics are good, but there's a much better way to track it that I'll actually pull up here in a second. So you can see here, these statistics are good, but there's a much better way to track it that I had to build myself in spreadsheets. So you can see here, these are kind of the ways that I like to track it. This is just looking at it by the date range, and you can see my overall, totals to date, 30% reply rate, because what I did is made the reply rate based on the actual amount of messages I'm sending out and not just the connection requests. And then you can see here in campaigns, did I just open Excel? Oops. You can see here in campaigns, I have a lot of them. And then over here, I've calculated the, acceptance rates, reply rates, and this really makes it easier to track all the data moving forward and make decisions from there. And then the target data, so the different targets I've done, there's obviously a lot more I haven't added in here yet, but overall, I'll show you, I'll make a video once in making this spreadsheet to track data. So overall, that's pretty much done now. I mean, what you'll do from here is when you get a response, you're going to go into different engagement steps, which I'll make a video on later, in terms of how to actually get them from their response to booking a meeting with you, or maybe even selling directly on LinkedIn, which is really difficult, but you could do it depending on what your service is. And now, what I do is just do the same exact thing, maybe make a different lead list or get a different, part of the clay lead list, maybe duplicate this and do the search again. But you want to have different leads, but then you can go in and put your B messaging so you can test out the difference between the A and the B. So overall, that's pretty much it in terms of setting up the campaigns. What you want to do now is monitor them. So over time, there's a couple different ways to do this. And this is obviously, really niche in terms of what specific targeting you're doing. But from here, you're going to go in and look at the reply rates, look at the acceptance rates, and, make sure you're kind of maxing out the amount of connection requests and everything you're doing per day. So you can see, you kind of want to get it as much as possible. And each campaign that you do is going to take away from each other one, because you only have a certain amount of connection requests and a certain amount of messages you can send per day. Because what Drify does is monitor that so that you don't kind of get your account banned or restricted for automated activity. So if you do have the advanced plan, then it's going to do that on its own. It's called activity control. So it's going to automatically go in and, set the amount of connection requests and vary this every day. So it's going to be different. And then if you don't have the advanced plan, you just have to go in and do this by yourself, which is also fine. I mean, it's not that difficult, to be honest. And what happens to me is that I, reach the weekly invite limit. So by the end of the week, I'm not able to actually send out connection requests, but that's fine because at least I'm maxing it out. So that is all I have for this video. Please keep in mind that I'm not claiming to be an expert at any of this stuff. I'm just sharing what I know from the sales and the meetings that I've actually closed. And I kind of included all the details in terms of what I think works and what doesn't work. And that's all in the description with the document below. So please do go ahead and grab that. I put as much effort into it as I could. But also, if you do want to support the channel and you're planning on signing up for Drify, do use my affiliate link. It's not sponsored or anything. It's just that, I started using the platform a while ago. And then as I kind of grew, I started giving it to other people. So I got an affiliate link to kind of get some kickback on that and help support the channel a little bit. So if you do want to do that, please go ahead. And, let me know if you like the video. If there's any questions you have, please do let me know. Stay tuned. I've got a lot of ideas coming up for even more integration, whether it's with AI and different lead generation, data enrichment, all that good stuff. So stay tuned. I'll see you in the next one.